Chaos erupts as Flight 412 lands at JFK. Marcus Grant, a black billionaire, stands handcuffed in the aisle, blood dripping from his split lip, while Lena clutches their sobbing 7-year-old, Amara, in economy. Flight attendant Patricia Cole smirks, victorious, believing she's ousted frauds from first class. Passengers mutter, stunned yet helpless. It began as a simple boarding, but spiraled into racial profiling's ugly grip. The twist? Marcus owns SkyHigh Airlines. This isn't the end. It's the start of a reckoning that'll echo for decades. What unleashed this storm? Before we dive in, tell us where you're watching from. If you stand for justice, hit like, subscribe, and join us for more epic tales of truth prevailing. The afternoon sun blazes over Los Angeles International Airport as Marcus Grant, Lena, and their 7-year-old daughter Amara weave through the bustling terminal toward Gate 47. Marcus, a towering figure with broad shoulders, wears a faded gray hoodie and dark jeans, his usual tailored suit swapped for something low-key. Lena, radiant despite the chaos around her, sports a butter-yellow sundress that flows with every step, her braided hair pulled into a loose bun. Amara skips beside them, her ladybug-shaped backpack bouncing, stuffed with crayons and a battered stuffed turtle she calls Mr. Snaps. They're bound for New York on SkyHigh Airlines Flight 412, a rare escape from Marcus's relentless schedule as the airline's elusive owner. To dodge the spotlight, he booked the tickets under his assistant's name, a trick he's used before to keep his family's life private. Today, they're just another trio craving a weekend of Central Park picnics and Broadway lights. The first-class cabin of the Boeing 737 gleams as they step aboard, a cocoon of privilege wrapped in plush leather and muted gold tones. A silver-haired executive in a pinstripe suit sips scotch 2 rows ahead, his Rolex glinting under the overhead lights. Across the aisle, a woman with oversized sunglasses and a designer scarf, maybe a faded starlet, flips through a glossy magazine, her nails painted a violent shade of crimson. The air hums with quiet wealth, a world Marcus knows well but rarely flaunts. He guides Lena and Amara to their seats, 3A through C, his movements smooth and practiced. Lena settles Amara into the window seat, tucking the little girl's backpack under her feet, while Marcus hoists their single carry-on, a scuffed black duffel, into the overhead bin. Amara presses her nose to the glass, giggling at the tarmac, workers scurrying below like ants. "Look, Daddy, they're so tiny," she chirps, her voice a bright spark in the cabin's sterile hush. Marcus cracks a faint smile, the kind that softens his sharp jawline and ruffles her hair. "They're working hard just like us," he says, easing into his seat beside Lena. Lena adjusts her dress, smoothing the fabric over her knees, and leans toward Marcus. "Think we'll actually get peace this time?" she asks, her tone teasing but laced with a thread of hope. He shrugs, his dark eyes scanning the cabin. "We'll see. Long as the coffee's decent, I'm good." His voice carries a gravelly warmth, a shield against the world he's built from nothing. The other passengers offer fleeting glances, some with polite nods, others with the blank stares of the self-absorbed. It's a moment of calm, a snapshot of a family stealing normalcy from a life of power. But that calm shatters when Patricia Cole steps into view. Patricia, 42, with a face carved from years of forced smiles, strides down the aisle, her navy uniform crisp as a blade. Her blonde hair sits in a tight bun, not a strand out of place, but her pale blue eyes glint with something sour. She's been with SkyHigh for 15 years, a gatekeeper of its first-class sanctum, and she prides herself on spotting trouble before it festers. Today, her radar pings hard as she locks onto the Grants. Marcus's hoodie, Lena's casual, elegance Amara's backpack. They clash with her mental checklist of who belongs here. Too black, too comfortable, too unlike the stiff suits and Botoxed faces she's used to serving. She pauses mid-step, her lips pressing into a thin, judgmental line, and adjusts her badge as if it's a crown. "Here we go," she mutters under, her breath barely audible, then turns to a junior attendant trailing behind her, a lanky kid named Ethan with acne dotting his cheeks. "Watch this," she says, her voice low and smug, like she's about to teach a lesson. Ethan blinks, unsure, but nods as Patricia pivots toward the Grant's row. Her heels click against the carpeted floor, a staccato warning shot. She stops, beside Marcus, her posture rigid, and clears her throat with theatrical precision. "Excuse me," she says, her tone sharp enough to slice through the cabin's hum. Marcus looks up, his expression neutral, one eyebrow lifting slightly. "Yes?" he replies, his deep voice steady. Patricia forces a smile, but it's a brittle thing, cracking at the edges, her eyes betraying the contempt bubbling beneath. "May I see your boarding passes?" she asks, extending a manicured hand. The request drips with authority, but there's an edge to it, a challenge masquerading as routine. Lena shifts in her seat, her fingers tightening around Amara's tiny hand, but she stays silent, watching. Amara, oblivious, doodles on a napkin with a purple crayon, humming a tune from her favorite cartoon. Marcus doesn't flinch. He reaches into the pocket of his hoodie, pulls out 3 boarding passes, crisp and creased from travel, and hands them over with a polite nod. "Of course," he says, his calmness a wall Patricia can't crack. She snatches the passes, her fingers brushing his with a flicker of disdain, and studies them like a detective hunting for forgery. The names printed in bold black ink read, Marcus Grant, Lena Grant, Amara Grant, seats 3A, B, and C first class, confirmed. Everything checks out, but Patricia's gut churns. These 3 don't fit her picture of wealth, not the way the scotch-sipping exec or the scarf lady do. Her brows knit together, her lips pursing tighter as she flips the passes over, then back, searching for a flaw that isn't there. "First class," she says aloud, her voice faltering just enough to reveal her disbelief, as if the words taste wrong in her mouth. Marcus nods again, his patience unshaken. "Yes, these are our seats," he says, his tone even, measured, a quiet anchor in the storm brewing around them. Lena catches the flicker of irritation in his eyes, a spark he hides well, but one she knows from years of navigating spaces that question their presence. Patricia hesitates, her discomfort thickening the air like humidity before a downpour. She clutches the passes, her knuckles whitening, and forces another smile, this one more grimace than grin. "I need to verify something with the gate agent," she says curtly, her words clipped and final. "Please remain seated." Without waiting for a reply, she spins on her heel and marches off, her steps quicker now, tension radiating from her stiff shoulders. Ethan trails after her, casting a nervous glance back at the Grants. Lena leans closer to Marcus, her voice a soft hiss. "What's her problem?" she asks, her brown eyes narrowing as she tracks Patricia's retreat. Marcus exhales through his nose, a slow release of the pressure building inside him. "Same old story," he mutters, resting his hands on his knees. "She'll figure it out." His calm masks the storm he's weathered too many times, the assumptions that cling to his skin like damp clothes. Amara looks up from her doodle, a lopsided flower in purple ink, and tilts her head. "Is the lady mad, Mommy?" she asks, her voice small but curious. Lena forces a smile, brushing a curl from Amara's forehead. "No, sweetie, she's just confused," she says, though the lie sits heavy on her tongue. Marcus squeezes Lena's arm, a silent reassurance, but there's a tightness around his mouth now, a crack in his armor. The cabin buzzes softly as other passengers settle in, their brief nods replaced by sideways glances. A woman in a pearl necklace 2 rows back adjusts her glasses, peering at the Grants with thinly veiled curiosity. The exec with the scotch mutters something to his seatmate, a chuckle slipping out, too low to catch but loud enough to sting. Patricia's absence stretches, the seconds ticking by like a countdown. In the galley, she huddles over a counter, the boarding passes still in her grip, her mind racing. Ethan hovers nearby, shifting his weight from foot to foot. "They're legit, right?" he asks, his voice timid. Patricia scoffs, tossing the passes onto the counter. "On paper, maybe," she says, her tone venomous, "but I know who belongs here, and it's not them." Back in their seats, the Grants wait, a family caught in a spotlight they didn't ask for. Amara resumes her humming, her crayon scratching out petals, but Lena's grip on Marcus's hand tightens. She knows this isn't over, not by a long shot. Marcus stares ahead, his mind already turning, calculating. He's faced worse than a skeptical flight attendant, built an empire from scraps while others doubted him. But this time, it's not just about him. It's about Lena, Amara, the life he's fought to give them. Patricia's coming back, and when she does, she'll push harder. He can feel it in his bones, the way the air thickens before a fight. This is just the beginning. A spark about to ignite a blaze that'll consume everything in its path. Patricia Cole storms back into the first-class cabin of SkyHigh Airlines Flight 412, her heels pounding the carpet like a war drum, her pinched face flushed with a mix of triumph and unease. She clutches the Grant's boarding passes, her fingers creasing the edges, and stops beside Marcus, Lena, and Amara with a posture so stiff it could snap. The cabin's hum dips, eyes flickering toward her like moths to a flame. She clears her throat, louder than necessary, and pins Marcus, with a stare that could curdle milk. "There's been a system glitch," she announces, her voice sharp and syrupy with false regret. "Your seats appear double-booked. I'll need you to move to economy until we resolve this." Her words hang heavy, a guillotine poised to drop, and the lie beneath them stinks like cheap perfume. What's she playing at? Is this really about a glitch or something uglier simmering in her gut? Marcus sits straighter, his broad frame filling the seat, and meets her gaze with a calm that unnerves her. "That's odd," he says, his deep voice steady as granite. "These tickets were confirmed weeks ago, paid in full. No issues at check-in." He leans forward slightly, hands resting on his knees. A man who knows his ground and won't budge easy. Lena's head tilts, her sundress rustling as she shifts, her eyes narrowing to slits. She's heard this song before, the tired tune of doubt slung at them in restaurants, stores, everywhere they dare to exist. Amara, nestled by the window, pauses her doodling, her purple crayon hovering over a half-drawn flower, sensing the air thicken. Patricia blinks, her forced smile twitching, but she doubles down. "Rules are rules," she snaps, cutting him off before he can press further. It's procedure, happens all the time. Does it though? Or is this her own twisted script? Lena's patience frays like a worn thread. She leans across Marcus, her voice low but slicing. "If it's such a common glitch, where's your supervisor? I'd like this explained properly." Her tone dares Patricia to flinch, a mother lion guarding her cubs. Amara clutches Mr. Snaps, her stuffed turtle, tighter, her small brow furrowing. Patricia's smirk creeps out, a venomous little twist of her lips, and she plants her hands on her hips. "I am the supervisor here," she says, her words dripping with smug authority. "And I'm telling you to move. Now." The cabin stirs, a ripple of whispers spreading. The silver-haired exec glances over his scotch, eyebrows raised. The woman with the crimson nails lowers her magazine, her sunglasses slipping to reveal a flicker of curiosity. Is Patricia overstepping, or does she smell blood in the water? Patricia doesn't wait for a reply. She snaps her fingers, a sharp crack that echoes, and two male attendants lumber forward from the galley like hired muscle. One's a beefy guy with a buzz cut, his name tag reading Carl, his arms crossed over a chest that strains his uniform. The other, shorter but wiry, sports a patchy beard and a scowl, his tag proclaiming him Vince. They loom over the Grant's row, silent but menacing, their presence a wall of intimidation. Carl cracks his knuckles, a deliberate pop-pop-pop, while Vince shifts his weight, his eyes darting between Patricia and Marcus. Amara whimpers, shrinking into her seat, her ladybug backpack sliding to the floor with a soft thud. Lena pulls her daughter closer, her arm a shield but her glare could melt steel. Marcus exhales slowly, his jaw tightening, a storm brewing behind his calm. "This necessary?" he asks, nodding at the goons, his voice low, but edged with steel. "Can you feel the tension coiling tighter? What's a father supposed to do when his kid's scared senseless over nothing?" Patricia folds her arms, her badge glinting under the cabin lights like a medal of war. "Just making sure everyone complies," she says, her tone icy. "Let's not make a scene." The irony's thick. She's the one turning heads, but she doesn't care. Marcus weighs his options, his mind a chessboard, every move calculated. He could push back, demand the captain, but Amara's trembling lips and Lena's clenched fist tell him to de-escalate for now. He rises, slow and deliberate, his 6'3" frame dwarfing Patricia, and gestures to his family. "Fine," he says, his voice a quiet thunder. "We'll move, but this isn't over." Lena scoops up Amara, cradling her against her chest, and grabs the backpack with a swift yank. Marcus slings the duffel over his shoulder, his steps measured as he leads them toward economy, a king forced off his throne. The walk down the aisle feels like a gauntlet. First-class eyes follow them, some with pity, others with sneers. The exec mutters, "Should have known better," his scotch sloshing as he chuckles. The actress smirks, snapping a photo with her phone, the flash a brief stab of light. In economy, the seats are a downgrade, a cramped middle row squeezed between a snoring retiree and a college kid blasting music through leaky earbuds. Marcus eases Amara into the window seat, her small frame swallowed by the worn cushion, while Lena takes the middle, her sundress bunching awkwardly. He slides in last, the duffel wedged at his feet, his knees jammed against the tray table. The air smells of stale pretzels and recycled tension. Amara buries her face in Mr. Snap's, her sniffles muffled, and Lena strokes her hair, whispering, "It's okay, baby." But it's not, and they all know it. How does a family swallow this kind of insult and keep breathing? Marcus pulls out his phone, his fingers swift as he taps a message to his COO, a wiry genius named Tariq, who's been with him since the startup days. "Check Flight 412's crew. Trouble brewing," he types, hitting send with a flick of his thumb. The reply pings back almost instantly, a single word, "On it." He pockets the phone, his face unreadable, but his mind races. Patricia's smugness, the attendant's muscle, the passenger's snickers. It's a familiar script flipped uglier by the second. Lena catches his eye, her voice a whisper over Amara's head. "She's got no idea who she's messing with, does she?" Marcus shakes his head, a ghost of a smirk tugging at his lips. "Not yet," he says, his words a promise wrapped in shadow. Back in first class, Patricia adjusts her bun, her chest puffed with victory. She thinks she's won, sent the outsiders packing, restored her precious order. What's she banking on? That no one will push back? The plane taxis toward the runway, engines rumbling as the cabin settles into a tense quiet. Amara clutches her turtle, her doodle forgotten, while Lena stares ahead, her jaw tight enough to crack walnuts. Marcus leans back, his hoodie hood shadowing his eyes, but he's anything but relaxed. He's a man who's built a fortune from grit, faced boardrooms that sneered at his skin, and come out on top every time. This isn't about seats, it's about the same old fight, the one that's chased him from corner stores to corporate towers. Patricia's first strike landed, sure, but she's misread the game. She thinks they're pawns she can shove off the board. Does she really believe they'll stay down? Comment number 1 if you think Patricia's digging her own grave here. Hit like if you're raging at this injustice, and subscribe to see her world implode. Who's ready to watch Marcus flip this upside down? The fasten seatbelt sign blinks on, a soft chime cutting through the murmurs. Patricia struts back to the galley, her smirk a badge of honor, oblivious to the storm she's kicked up. Carl and Vince linger near the curtain, their bulk a silent threat, but their eyes flicker with unease. They're foot soldiers in her war, not generals, and something about Marcus's calm rattles them. In economy, the Grants sit shoulder to shoulder, a family under siege but unbroken. Marcus's phone buzzes faintly, a lifeline to the outside, and he glances at Lena. "Next move's ours," he murmurs, his voice a vow. What happens when a man with everything to lose decides he's had enough? Stick around, because this flight's about to hit turbulence no one saw coming. The hum of SkyHigh Airlines Flight 412 fills the economy cabin as Marcus Grant, Lena, and Amara settle into their cramped new seats, the sting of their forced relocation still raw. Marcus wedges his long legs against the tray table, his gray hoodie stretched tight across his shoulders while Lena adjusts Amara's ladybug backpack, tucking it under the seat ahead. Amara clutches Mr. Snaps, her stuffed turtle, her sniffles quieter now but her eyes still glassy with confusion. The air reeks of stale fabric and the college kid's sour energy drink spilling over in the next row. Across the aisle, a beefy, white guy in a stained polo shirt, Ted, leans over, his breath heavy with peanuts and spite. "Should have known your place, huh?" He jeers, his voice loud enough to turn heads. His sunburned face twists into a grin, gold chain glinting under the cabin lights. Lena's head snaps up, her brown eyes blazing, and she fixes him with a stare that could shatter glass. "Mind your own damn business," she hisses, her words a whip crack. Ted snorts, leaning back, but his smirk lingers, a challenge unmet. In the galley, Patricia Cole leans against the counter, her navy uniform pristine despite the chaos she's stirred. Her pinched face glows with smug satisfaction as she pours coffee into a styrofoam cup, the bitter steam curling up. Jake, a wiry attendant with a mop of brown curls, hovers nearby, his hands fidgeting with a tray of napkins. "They didn't even fight back," Patricia brags, her voice low and gloating. "Typical." She sips the coffee, her lips curling around the rim, savoring her victory like it's sugar-coated. Jake shifts his weight, his brow furrowing, and glances toward economy. "You sure about this?" he asks, his tone cautious, almost timid. "I mean, their tickets looked fine to me." Patricia's eyes narrow, her grip tightening on the cup until it dents. She sets it down with a thud and steps closer to the service computer, punching in the Grant's seat numbers with sharp jabs. The screen flickers, then displays their booking. Marcus Grant, Lena Grant, Amara Grant, first class, confirmed, paid, in full, no flags. Jake peers over her shoulder, his breath catching. "See, they're legit," he says, pointing at the glowing text. Patricia's jaw clenches, her pale blue eyes flashing with defiance. "Doesn't matter," she snaps, slamming the keyboard tray shut. "They don't look first class, you know what I mean." Her voice dips into a conspiratorial whisper, her bun tilting slightly as she leans in. Jake recoils, his unease blooming into a knot in his gut, but he nods faintly, too green to challenge her. She turns away, smoothing her uniform, her mind already spinning excuses for the glitch she invented. Back in economy, Marcus stares out the tiny window, the clouds a gray smear against the glass, his calm a mask over the fury simmering beneath. Lena brushes a curl from Amara's forehead, her touch gentle but her posture rigid. Ted's taunt still echoes, a splinter under her skin, and she mutters to Marcus, "People like him never learn." Marcus nods, his fingers drumming a slow rhythm on his knee. "They will," he says, his voice a quiet vow. He pulls out his phone, the screen lighting his face in the dim cabin, and opens his messages. Tariq's last reply. On it. Stares back at him. Marcus types fast, his thumbs a blur. Dig into the crew, especially the lead attendant. History of complaints, anything racial. Now. He hits send, the whoosh of the message cutting through the engine's drone. Seconds later, Tariq responds. Got her. Patricia Cole, 15 years, 3 filed complaints, all profiling, all swept under the rug, working on more. Marcus's lips twitch, not quite a smile, more a predator scenting blood. He dials a number, his movement swift but deliberate, and presses the phone to his ear. Derek, he says when the line picks up, his voice low, commanding. Derek Vance, SkyHigh's VP of Operations, a lanky white guy with a knack for damage. Control, answers with a crisp, Marcus, what's up? Marcus doesn't waste breath. Flight 412, your lead attendant, Patricia Cole, just kicked my family out of first class for no reason. Fix it. Now. Derek's silence crackles. Then Jesus, Marcus, I'll handle it. Gimme 10 minutes. The plane cruises at 35,000 feet, the cabin lights dimming as lunch trays rattle out. Amara nibbles a cracker, her appetite gone, while Lena watches Marcus, her eyes searching his stoic face. What's the play? She whispers, leaning close. Waiting on Derek, he murmurs back, pocketing his phone. She's about to learn who she's screwed with. In the galley, Patricia chats with Carl, the buzz-cut attendant, about her takedown, her laughter a brittle cackle. Jake, still uneasy, slips away to the service cart, his hands shaky as he stacks juice cups. The intercom chimes, cutting through her gloat, and the captain's voice booms, calm but firm. "Ladies and gentlemen, a brief announcement. Mr. Grant and family, please return to your first-class seats immediately. We apologize for the inconvenience." The cabin erupts, a wave of gasps and murmurs crashing through. The exec with the scotch claps slowly, his Rolex clinking, while the actress lowers her sunglasses, jaw dropping. Economy passengers crane their necks, Ted's face twisting into a scowl as he mutters, "What the hell?" Patricia freezes, the coffee cup slipping from her hand to splatter across the galley floor, brown liquid pooling at her feet. Her smirk vanishes, replaced by a slack-jawed gape, her pale skin flushing red. "No way," she breathes, her voice a ragged whisper. Jake stares at her, wide-eyed, then bolts to clean the spill, leaving her rooted. Carl and Vince exchange glances, their bravado crumbling. Marcus rises in economy, his frame unfolding with quiet power, and gestures to Lena and Amara. "Let's go," he says, his tone even but laced with steel. Lena scoops up Amara, who clutches Mr. Snaps tighter, her small face brightening at the shift. They stride back to first class, heads high, the duffel swinging from Marcus's shoulder like a war trophy. Passengers cheer, a ragged chorus of "about time" and "good for them" rippling through the rows. The exec nods at Marcus, a rare flicker of respect, while the actress snaps another photo, this one captioned "Justice" on her X post. Patricia staggers to the galley curtain, peering out as the Grants reclaim their seats. Marcus settles into 3A, his hoodie hood pushed back, revealing a jawline carved from resolve. Lena tucks Amara into the window seat, whispering, "See, baby, we're back where we belong." Amara giggles, her fear fading, and resumes her doodle, adding a sun to her flower. Patricia's stomach churns, her victory souring into a bitter pill. She thought she'd won, sent them packing with their tails tucked, but now the cabin's alive with their triumph, her humiliation laid bare. She grips the curtain, knuckles white, her mind racing. This can't stand. She won't let it. She ducks back into the galley, snatching a napkin from Jake's tray to dab her sweaty forehead, her breath hitching. Ted's voice echoes in her head, his taunt a spark to her rage. She needs an ally, someone to turn this around. She spots Ted, slouched in economy, his gold chain catching the light, and scribbles a note on a napkin. "I know people. We can fix this." She folds it tight and signals Carl, who's still hovering near the curtain, his buzz cut glistening with sweat. "Give this to the loudmouth in 12D, she mutters, shoving the napkin into his meaty hand. Carl nods, lumbering down the aisle, and slips it to Ted, who unfolds it with a grunt. His eyes light up, a nasty grin spreading as he pockets it. Patricia retreats to the galley phone, her fingers trembling as she dials a satellite line. "Roy," she says when the call connects, her voice a hiss. Roy, a gravelly ex-cop with a rap sheet she's ignored for years, grunts on the other end. "What's up, Trish?" She glances around, ensuring Jake's out of earshot. "Frame them. Drugs, whatever. I want them gone when we land at JFK. Can you do it?" Roy chuckles, a sound like gravel grinding. "For you? Easy. I'll be there." She hangs up, her pulse pounding, a twisted relief flooding her veins. Marcus, back in first class, senses the shift, the weight of Patricia's glare from the galley. He pulls out his phone again, texting his security chief, a grizzled ex-Marine named Leon. "JFK landing, eyes open, trouble's not done." "Leon's," reply pings back, "locked in, boss." Marcus leans back, his calm a fortress, but his eyes stay sharp. The captain's voice saved him this round, but Patricia's not finished. He can smell it. Lena catches his look, her hand resting on his arm. "She's not letting this go, is she?" she asks, her voice a thread of steel. Marcus shakes his head. "Nope. But neither are we." The plane drones on, slicing through the sky, a battleground suspended 35,000 feet above the earth. SkyHigh Airlines Flight 412 cruises through the late afternoon sky, the cabin lights casting a soft glow over the first-class seats where Marcus Grant, Lena, and Amara now sit, reclaimed from their brief exile. Marcus stretches his legs, his gray hoodie bunched at the elbows, his broad frame relaxed but his dark eyes alert, scanning the aisle like a hawk. Lena smooths Amara's curls, her yellow sundress a splash of warmth against the leather seat, and hands her daughter a juice box from the tray table. Amara clutches Mr. Snaps, her stuffed turtle in one hand, sipping the apple juice with a faint smile, her earlier tears dried by the thrill of their return. "We're back, Mommy," she chirps, kicking her small feet against the seat. Lena nods, her lips curving gently. "Right where we belong, baby," she says, her voice steady but her gaze flickering toward the galley, where trouble still brews. The cabin buzzes with a new energy, passengers stealing glances at the Grants, their reinstatement a quiet spectacle. The silver-haired exec in the pinstripe suit sets his scotch down, clapping 3 slow, deliberate times, his Rolex glinting with each motion. "Well played," he mutters, loud enough for Marcus to hear, a rare nod of approval from the old money crowd. The actress with the crimson nails lowers her sunglasses, her phone flashing as she snaps a photo, her fingers dancing over the screen to post it. The image hits X seconds later, captioned, "Karma's a first-class ticket," racking up likes as the plane soars. A woman in a pearl necklace 2 rows back whispers to her companion, "They didn't deserve that nonsense," her tone sharp with sympathy. Marcus catches the exec's eye and dips his head slightly, acknowledging the gesture, but his focus stays razor-sharp. Patricia Cole emerges from the galley, her navy uniform still crisp, but her pinched face flushed a mottled red, her bun tilting, as if her pride's taken a hit. She strides toward the Grant's row, her heels clicking softer now, her posture stiff with forced composure. She stops beside Marcus, her pale blue eyes darting between him, Lena, and Amara, and clears her throat. "I apologize for the inconvenience," she says, her voice clipped and brittle, each word dragged out like it pains her. Her lips twitch into a half-smile, but her gaze burns with a rage she can't mask. Marcus leans back, his hands resting, on his knees, and fixes her with a stare that could drill through steel. "Inconvenience," he repeats, his deep voice flat, letting the word hang like a guillotine. Lena's eyebrow arches, her fingers tightening around Amara's juice box, but she stays silent, letting Marcus lead. Patricia shifts her weight, her badge catching the light, and nods curtly. "A misunderstanding," she adds, her tone sharpening as she backpedals. "It's resolved now." She spins on her heel and retreats, her steps quick and jerky, disappearing behind the galley curtain. Her apology's a hollow shell, and Marcus knows it. She's not sorry. She's cornered. Lena leans closer, her voice a whisper over Amara's head. "She's pissed," she says, her brown eyes narrowing. Marcus nods, his jaw tightening. "Good," he mutters, his calm a fortress around the storm inside. Amara slurps her juice, oblivious, adding a wobbly cloud to her doodle, but the tension between her parents crackles like static. In the galley, Patricia slams a tray onto the counter, her hands trembling as coffee sloshes over the edge. Carl, the buzzcut attendant, lounges nearby, picking at his nails, while Jake wipes down the sink, his curls bouncing with each nervous swipe. "They're back up there like nothing happened," she spits, her voice a venomous hiss. "Humiliating me in front of everyone." Carl grunts, glancing up. "You pushed it too far, Trish," he says, his tone gruff, but not unkind. She whirls on him, her bun wobbling. "I was right to question them," she snaps, her pale skin blotching with fury. "They don't belong up there, glitch or not." Jake pauses, his rag dripping, and mutters, "Tickets were legit, though." But she ignores him, her mind churning darker plans. Ted, the loudmouth from Economy, shuffles past the galley curtain, his stained polo shirt reeking of sweat and peanuts. He catches Patricia's eye and slips her a crumpled napkin, his gold chain swinging as he leans in. "Read it," he whispers, his breath hot and sour. She unfolds it, her fingers unsteady, and scans his scrawl. "I know people. We can fix this." Her pulse quickens, a twisted lifeline in her sinking ship. She nods once, sharp and decisive, and Ted slinks back to his seat, a nasty grin spreading. Patricia grabs the galley phone, her movements jerky, and dials the satellite line she used before. "Roy," she says when he picks up, her voice low and urgent. "It's me. They're back in first class, but I need them gone. Frame them. Drugs, whatever, just make it stick when we hit JFK." Roy's gravelly laugh rumbles through. "Got it, Trish. I'll plant something clean. Cops will eat it up. See you at landing." She hangs up, her chest heaving, a sick satisfaction curling, her lips. She's not done. Not by a mile. Back in first class, Marcus senses the shift, the weight of unseen eyes prickling his neck. He pulls out his phone, the screen glowing faintly, and taps a new message to Leon, his security chief. "JFK landing. Trouble's brewing. Likely a setup. Have the team ready." Leon's reply pings back fast. "On high alert, boss. We'll sweep the scene." Marcus pockets the device, his hoodie hood shadowing his face, but his mind races. Patricia's retreat wasn't surrender, it was a reload. He glances at Lena, who's watching Amara doodle a lopsided plane, and murmurs, "She's planning something." Lena's hand pauses mid-stroke on Amara's hair, her voice a thread of steel. "Let her try," she says, her eyes meeting his, a shared resolve burning bright. The plane begins its descent, the engines whining as the fasten seatbelt sign blinks on. Passengers shift, stowing trays and buckling in, the cabin alive with the rustle of anticipation. In economy, Ted slouches, his gold chain tangled in his collar, his mind buzzing with the chaos he's helped ignite. The actress in first class posts another update. "Landing soon, drama's not over," her followers eating it up. The exec sips his last drop of scotch, oblivious to the storm about to break. Patricia emerges from the galley, her face a mask of calm, and takes her jump seat, her hands clasped tight to hide their tremble. She thinks she's got the upper hand, Roy's her ace in the hole, and the Grants won't see it coming. Flight 412 touches down at JFK, the wheels screeching against the tarmac, a jolt rippling through the fuselage. The cabin lights brighten, passengers unbuckling with groans and stretches, eager to escape. Marcus, Lena, and Amara stay seated a beat longer, gathering their things with deliberate care. Marcus slings the duffel over his shoulder, its weight familiar, while Lena lifts Amara, who clutches her turtle and doodle pad, her small face bright with the promise of New York. They step into the aisle, a family unbroken despite the bruises of the flight, and head for the jetway. Patricia watches from her perch, her smirk creeping back, a predator scenting prey. She nods faintly to herself as they pass, her plan ticking like a bomb. At the gate, Roy waits, a hulking figure in a faded leather jacket, his gray hair buzzed, short, his eyes shadowed by a lifetime of dirty deeds. He blends into the crowd, a ghost among the travelers, and tracks the Grants as they emerge. Marcus strides ahead, his hoodie hood up, Lena and Amara close behind, their steps steady but weary. Roy slips a hand into his pocket, palming a small baggie of white powder, its edges crinkling faintly. As Marcus reaches for the duffel to adjust it, Roy moves, swift and silent, brushing past with a practiced bump. His fingers slide the baggie into an outer pocket, the motion so smooth it's invisible to the untrained eye. He melts back into the throng, his job done, and dials a burner phone. "TSA now?" he growls to his contact, a crooked agent on the take, and hangs up, vanishing into the terminal's chaos. Marcus adjusts the duffel, oblivious to the plant, and guides his family toward baggage claim, his senses tingling but no proof in hand. Lena squeezes Amara's hand, her sundress swaying with each step, her instincts screaming danger but her focus on keeping her daughter calm. The terminal buzzes, a hive of noise and motion, but a shadow looms. Roy's trap set, Patricia's, revenge primed to strike. The Grants think they've won, reclaimed their place with a captain's word, but the ground beneath them is about to crack wide open. The terminal at JFK buzzes with late-evening chaos as Marcus Grant, Lena, and Amara step off the jetway of SkyHigh Airlines Flight 412, their strides steady but shadowed by an unseen weight. Marcus adjusts the scuffed black duffel on, his shoulder, his gray hoodie hood pulled low, his sharp jaw set tight beneath it. Lena grips Amara's small hand, her yellow sundress swaying as she navigates the crowd, her brown eyes scanning for threats she can't yet name. Amara clutches Mr. Snaps, her stuffed turtle, her ladybug backpack bouncing with each step, her earlier joy dulled by the flight's lingering sting. They weave toward baggage claim, a family battered but unbroken, unaware of the noose tightening around them. Roy, the ex-cop with a leather jacket and a predator's grin, watches from the fringes, his gray buzz cut blending into the sea of travelers. His baggie of white powder sits snug in Marcus's duffel, a silent bomb ticking down. They reach the baggage claim, a cavernous hall of whirring belts and impatient bodies. Marcus sets the duffel at his feet, rolling his shoulders to ease the sick while Lena kneels to tie Amara's sneaker, her fingers swift but tense. The crowd parts suddenly, a ripple of authority cutting through, and 4 TSA agents in navy polos swarm in, their radios crackling. The leader, a stocky guy with a shaved head and a badge reading Perez, zeroes in on Marcus, his hand hovering near his holster. "Marcus Grant?" he barks, his voice a gunshot in the din. Marcus turns, his calm unshaken, and nods once. "That's me," he says, his deep tone even. Perez smirks, a nasty twist of his lips and gestures to the duffel. "We got a tip. Need to search your bag. Now." Lena rises, pulling Amara behind her, her sundress flaring as she steps forward. "What tip?" she demands, her voice slicing through the noise. "What's brewing here? Is this just protocol or a dagger aimed straight at them?" Perez ignores her, snapping his fingers at a wiry agent with a buzz cut who snatches the duffel and unzips it with a vicious tug. His gloved hand dives in, rummaging past Amara's doodle pad and Marcus's spare hoodie, then freezes. He pulls out the baggie, the white powder stark against the black plastic, and holds it up like a trophy. "Well, well," Perez sneers, his eyes glinting with triumph. "Looks like we've got a problem." The terminal gasps, a collective inhale, travelers whipping out phones to film, their flashes popping like gunfire. Marcus's jaw tightens, a flicker of shock breaking his calm, but he recovers fast. "That's not mine," he says, his voice steel, stepping closer. Lena's scream rips through, "You planted that!" as Amara wails, burying her face in her mother's hip, Mr. Snaps dangling from her grip. Perez chuckles, a low, dirty sound, and signals his team. "Cuff him," he orders, his tone final. 2 agents lunge, their meaty hands yanking Marcus's arms back, the metal cuffs clicking shut with a cold snap. He resists just enough to stumble, his hoodie sleeve tearing as a fist grazes his lip, splitting it open. Blood trickles down his chin, a red streak against his dark skin, and he staggers, his knees hitting the tile. Lena lunges forward, her hands clawing at Perez's arm, but a 3rd agent shoves her back, her sundress tangling as she catches Amara before they both fall. "Get off him!" she yells, her voice raw, tears streaking her face. Amara's sobs echo, a high-pitched keening that pierces the terminal's roar. Perez looms over Marcus, his smirk widening. "Tell it to the judge," he snaps, nodding to his team. They haul Marcus up, his blood dripping onto the floor, and drag him toward a security door, his boots scuffing the tiles. Can you feel the injustice boiling over? How does a man stay strong when the system's rigged to break him? At the gate, Patricia Cole lingers, her navy uniform a stark silhouette against the jetway's mouth, her pinched face glowing with a smugness she can't hide. She watches the scene unfold, her arms crossed, her bun pristine despite the flight's chaos. The passengers streaming past gasp and mutter, their outrage a low hum. But she drinks it in, her pale blue eyes glinting with victory. "Got him," she mutters to herself, her lips curling into a venomous smile. Her plans clicked into place, Roy's plant a masterstroke, and Marcus's fall is her crown. She turns away, her heels clicking toward the crew exit, her chest puffed with the thrill of revenge. Back in the terminal, the crowd swells, phones thrust high, the footage hitting X in real time. A post from an onlooker explodes. "First class. Fraud caught at JFK. Drugs in his bag." It racks up retweets, the hashtag SkyHigh bus trending within minutes. Ted, slouched near baggage claim, his gold chain tangled in his stained polo, grins as he taps his phone, fueling the fire. Knew they were trouble, he posts, attaching a blurry clip of Marcus in cuffs, the blood stark against his hoodie. His followers lap it up, comments piling on. Should have stayed in economy. Typical. Lock him up. Lena, trembling, pulls out her phone, her fingers shaking as she dials their lawyer, a sharp-tongued woman named Carla Reyes. "Carla, it's Lena," she says, her voice breaking. "They've got Marcus. Planted drugs. TSA's taking him. Get here now." Carla's reply crackles through. "On my way, stay calm. We'll fight this." Lena hangs up, clutching Amara tighter, her sundress damp with her daughter's tears. The agents disappear with Marcus, the security door slamming shut, a clang that echoes like a gavel. Marcus lands in a holding cell, a concrete box stinking of bleach and despair, his wrists chafed from the cuffs. Blood crusts on his lip, his hoodie torn at the shoulder, but his eyes burn with a fire that won't quit. He paces, 3 steps, 1 way, 3 back, his mind racing. Roy's plant was slick, too slick, and Patricia's stench is all over it. He bangs a fist against the wall, the thud dull, his calm cracking under the weight of this new cage. Outside, Lena rallies, her lawyer en route, but the terminal's chaos swallows her pleas. She spots the captain, a graying man with a tired face, exiting the gate, and storms over, Amara in tow. "You saw what happened on that flight," she says, her voice ablade. "They set him up and your crew's involved." The captain flinches, his hands raised. "I reinstated you. That's all I could do," he stammers, his tone weak. "Patricia's untouchable right now. I've got no pull here." Lena's eyes narrow, her grip on Amara tightening. "Coward!" she spits, turning away, her faith in the system crumbling. Marcus's security chief, Leon, pings his phone from outside. "Team's digging. Found Roy on flight logs, linked to Patricia. We've got something." Marcus can't reply, locked in his cell, but Tariq, his COO, picks up the thread, cross-referencing Roy's name with past crew records. The pieces snap together, a trail of dirt leading back to Patricia's call. Lena gets the update, her phone buzzing as she huddles with Amara near a bench, the terminal's noise a relentless drone. She whispers to her daughter, "Daddy's coming back, I promise." But her voice wavers, the trap's jaws too tight. Patricia, now at the crew lounge, smirks at her phone, Ted's post glowing on the screen. She thinks she's untouchable, the Grants crushed under her heel, but the captain's fear, Leon's lead, and Lena's fire hint at cracks she can't see. Hey folks, this is getting wild. Comment number 1 if you think Patricia's gone too far with this setup. Smash that like button if you're rooting for Marcus to break free, and subscribe to catch every twist as this fight explodes. Should Lena trust the system to save him, or is she right to call the captain out? How does a family hold on when the world's cheering their fall? Stick with us, because the next move's gonna flip this whole game on its head. The glass doors of SkyHigh Airlines headquarters in downtown Manhattan slide open as Lena Grant storms through, her yellow sundress streaked with Amara's tears, her braided bun fraying from the chaos of JFK. Amara clings to her hand, "Mister," snaps dangling from her small fist, her ladybug backpack slung over one shoulder, her eyes red but dry now, a 7-year-old hardened by the night's ordeal. Beside them strides Carla Reyes, their lawyer, a wiry woman in a slate-gray suit, her heels clicking like gunfire on the marble floor, her sharp jaw set with purpose. Lena's face is a mask of fury, her brown eyes blazing as she clutches a tablet. Loaded with evidence, call logs linking Patricia Cole to Roy, the ex-cop who planted the drugs. They barrel toward the executive suite, security guards parting like water before a blade, their radios crackling but their hands still. Lena's not here to ask. She's here to demand. They burst into the office of Harold Vance, SkyHigh's CEO, a lanky white man with thinning hair and a perpetual squint, hunched over a desk cluttered with papers and a lukewarm coffee mug. He jolts upright, his tie askew, as Lena slams the tablet down, the screen glowing with Roy's flight log and Patricia's satellite call timestamp. "Your flight attendant framed my husband," she says, her voice a low growl, each word a dagger. He's in a cell because of her and you're going to fix it. Harold's eyes dart to Carla, then back to Lena, his Adam's apple bobbing as he swallows hard. Mrs. Grant, let's take a breath here, he stammers, his hands fluttering like trapped birds. Carla steps forward, her tone ice cold. No breathing room, Harold. We've got proof. Suspend her, investigate, or we sue you into the ground. Amara stands silent, her small frame rigid, watching the adults wage war. Harold wipes sweat from his brow, his squint deepening as he scans the tablet, the evidence undeniable. Okay, he mutters, grabbing his phone with shaky fingers. He dials HR, his voice tight. Patricia Cole, lead attendant, flight 412, suspend her now pending investigation, move fast. He hangs up, slumping back, his face pale. She's off the roster, effective immediately, he says, meeting Lena's glare. We'll look into this, I promise. Lena's lips press thin, her trust in promises long gone, but she nods once, sharp and final. Carla jots notes on her legal pad, her pen scratching like a countdown. Lena scoops Amara into her arms, the girl's weight a grounding force, and turns to leave, her sundress swishing with each fierce step. Harold stares after them, his PR nightmare blooming into a full-blown crisis. At the precinct, Marcus Grant sits in a holding cell, his torn hoodie sleeve dangling, blood crusted on his split lip, his wrists raw from the cuffs now removed. He's out on bail, thanks to Carla's quick work, a cool $50,000, lighter but unbowed. He steps into the night, his broad frame battered but his eyes blazing with a fire that could torch steel. Lena waits outside, Amara asleep in her arms, her face softening as Marcus pulls them both close, his hoodie damp with precinct grime. We're suing, he says, his deep voice a vow, his breath warm against her ear. SkyHigh, Patricia. The whole damn system. Lena nods, her resolve mirroring his, and they climb into a waiting car, the city lights streaking past as they head home to regroup. Morning breaks, and news hits like a thunderclap. SkyHigh owner framed by own staff, screams across screens, X-posts exploding with outrage, clips of Marcus in cuffs, blood dripping, go viral, hashtags like Tacha Justice for Grant trending as protests flare outside JFK's terminal, signs bob in the crowd, end racial profiling and SkyHigh's a lie, painted in bold red strokes, voices chanting Marcus's name. Lena watches from their Brooklyn brownstone, Amara coloring at her feet, the TV flickering with footage of the swelling unrest. Marcus paces, phone in hand, coordinating with Tariq and Leon, his team digging deeper into Patricia's dirt. She's done, he mutters, his jaw tight but the fight's far from over. Patricia, on forced leave, holes up in a Queen's dive bar, the air thick with cigarette smoke and regret. She slams a shot of whiskey, her navy uniform swapped for a wrinkled blouse, her bun unraveling into a blonde mess. Roy slouches beside her, his leather jacket creaking, nursing a beer, while Ted sprawls across the booth, his gold chain glinting in the dim light. He's not winning this. Patricia spits, her voice slurred but venomous, her pale blue eyes wild. Suspended or not, I'll bury him. Roy grunts, wiping foam from his lip. Cops bought the plant, Trish. He's toast. Ted leans in, his peanut breath sour, and grins. Let's smear him harder. Fake docs, say his money's all drug cash. I've got bots ready. Patricia's lips curl, a twisted spark igniting. Do it, she says, slamming her glass down, the crack echoing in the bar's din. Hours later, X lights up with a flood of posts, doctored PDFs claiming Marcus Grant's billions came from a cocaine empire, not SkyHigh. Billionaire or kingpin, one tweet reads, racking up retweets as bots amplify the lie. Ted's fingerprints are all over it, his account a cesspool of glee. Told you he's a fraud. The smear hits hard, SkyHigh's stock dipping 5 points by noon, a tremor shaking Marcus's empire. Investors whisper, analysts speculate, and the protests outside, JFK grow louder, some voices wavering, unsure who to believe. Marcus watches the chaos from his study, his torn hoodie swapped for a black sweatshirt, his split lips scabbing over. He dials Derek, the VP, his voice a low rumble. Your attendant's burning us down, and you're letting it happen. Derek's reply crackles, panicked. We're investigating, Marcus, I swear, just give us time. Marcus hangs up, his fist clenching. Time's a luxury he won't spare. Lena joins him, her sundress traded for jeans and a sweater, Amara napping upstairs. They're hitting us where it hurts, she says, her voice steady, but her eyes dark, with worry. Marcus nods, pulling up the fake docs on his laptop, the forgery sloppy but effective. They're desperate, he says, his fingers tracing the screen. Means we're close. Tariq pings him, a message flashing. Roy's got priors, linked to Patricia's past flights. Cops are circling. Leon follows. Protests spooking the board. They're cracking. Marcus's lips twitch, a ghost of a smirk, the counterstrike gaining ground. But Patricia's not done. Her barroom plot a live wire, and Roy's calm a mask for the storm he's ready to unleash. In the dive bar, Patricia downs another shot, her hands trembling as Ted scrolls his phone, bots churning out lies like a factory. Roy cracks his knuckles, his gray buzz cut catching the neon glow, and mutters, if this don't stick, we go harder. Patricia slams the table, her glass wobbling. It'll stick, she snarls, her voice a jagged edge. He's not walking away from this. Her suspension's a slap, not a defeat, and she's got nothing left to lose. The whiskey burns, her throat, fueling her rage while Ted's bots flood the internet, a digital tidal wave aimed at Marcus's heart. Outside, the protests roar, a city teetering on the edge, and SkyHigh's stock ticker flashes red, each dip a wound to Marcus's legacy. Marcus stands at his study window, the Brooklyn skyline a blur, his broad frame a silhouette against the glass. Lena rests a hand on his shoulder, her touch a tether, and whispers, We've got them running. He turns, his split lip curling faintly. Not fast enough, he says, his voice gravel and steel. The news blares, a reporter breathless. Protests escalate as SkyHigh reels from framing scandal. The smear campaign's a gut punch, but the evidence against Patricia's piling up, a noose tightening she can't see. Marcus's empire trembles, stock prices wobbling, but his resolve's ironclad. He's out of the cell, back in the fight, and Patricia's reckoning looms, her barroom bravado blind to the storm he's about to unleash. The Brooklyn brownstone hums with tension as Marcus Grant steps into his study, the morning sun slicing through the blinds, casting bars of light across his desk. He's swapped his torn hoodie for a crisp black button-down, the sleeves rolled to his elbows, his split lip scabbed over but his dark eyes burning with purpose. Lena hovers near the door, her jeans and sweater a quiet armor, her braided bun retightened, her face etched with resolve. Amara colors in the living room, her crayon scratching out a plane in bold reds. Mr. Snaps propped beside her, oblivious to the war her parents wage. Marcus boots up his laptop, the screen flaring to life, and dials Tariq, his COO, on speaker. Give me everything, he says, his deep voice a command. Tariq's reply crackles through. Patricia's complaints, 3 confirmed, all racial, buried by HR. Roy's got priors, assault, bribery tied to her on 5 flights. Marcus nods, his fingers drumming a steady beat, the pieces locking into a weapon. He schedules a press conference, noon sharp, outside SkyHigh's Manhattan HQ, the glass tower looming like a fragile giant. By 11, reporters swarm the steps, cameras flashing, mics thrusting forward, the air thick with anticipation. Marcus steps up, Lena at his side, her presence a silent pillar, Amara safe with a sitter. He's 6'3" of unyielding steel, his black shirt stark against the gray stone, blood still faintly crusted on his lip. Patricia Cole framed me, he says, his voice booming, steady as a drum. She's got a history, racial profiling, covered up by SkyHigh. Roy, her accomplice, planted drugs, ex-cop with a rap sheet. Here's the proof. He holds up a tablet, call logs and records glowing, then hands it to a reporter, a wiry woman with glasses who gasps as she scrolls. The crowd erupts, questions, flying, cameras whirring, X lighting up with Theorsham SkyHigh exposed trending in minutes. SkyHigh's board scrambles, a frantic call convened in their sleek conference room. Harold Vance at the head, his squint deeper, his tie a noose around his neck. The stock's down 8 points, a freefall sparked by Marcus's words, investors bailing like rats from a sinking ship. "Fire her!" a board member snaps, a balding man with a red face, slamming his fist on the table. "She's killing us." Harold nods, his hands trembling as he signs the termination order. Patricia's 15 years torched in a heartbeat. News breaks fast. SkyHigh fires attendant in framing scandal. Hit screens, protesters outside JFK roaring, their signs now reading "Justice served" and "Down with SkyHigh" in jagged black ink. The hashtag "Dacha racist flight fail" surges. Patricia's name a curse trending globally. Her smirks and whiskey, shots a distant memory. Patricia, holed up in her queen's apartment, watches the news on a flickering TV, her blonde hair a tangled mess, her wrinkled blouse stained with sweat. She hurls a beer bottle at the screen, glass shattering, foam dripping. Down the wall her scream a raw guttural thing. "They can't do this," she yells, her voice cracking, but the termination email pings her phone, cold and final from HR. Effective immediately. Employment terminated. She collapses onto the couch, her pale blue eyes wild, her bun a ruin. The empire she thought, she'd topple now crushing her instead. Roy's not answering her calls, Ted's gone silent, and the world's turned against her. She's a ghost, unmoored, her revenge a boomerang slicing back. Marcus, fresh off the press conference, drives Lena and Amara to a midtown hotel, a sleek tower of glass and steel, their brownstone too exposed with protests raging. They check in, Amara clutching her doodle pad, her small frame dwarfed by the lobby's marble expanse. Marcus plans the next strike, his phone buzzing with updates, when Roy strikes first. The ex-cop lurks in the hotel parking lot, his leather jacket blending into the dusk, a lead pipe dangling from his hand. As Marcus steps out to grab Amara's backpack from the car, Roy lunges, the pipe cracking against Marcus's skull with a sickening thud. Blood sprays, a crimson arc across the pavement, and Marcus crumples, his black shirt soaking red. Amara screams from the lobby doors, her doodle pad tumbling, crayons scattering like shrapnel. Lena bolts out, her sweater snagging on the frame, and tackles Roy, her fists pounding his chest, her rage a feral thing. "Get off him!" she roars, her voice tearing through the night, driving Roy back as he stumbles, pipe clattering away. Marcus groans, blood pooling beneath him, his vision blurring but his will ironclad. Lena drags him to his feet, her arms trembling, her jeans stained with his blood, and shoves him toward the lobby as hotel security swarms. Roy bolts, vanishing, into the shadows, his gray buzz cut a fleeting ghost. Amara sobs, clinging to Lena's leg, Mr. Snaps abandoned on the concrete. Ted, parked nearby in a beat-up sedan, films it all, his gold chain glinting as he grins, uploading the clip to "Thug gets what he deserves." The video explodes 10,000 views in an hour, twisting the narrative again, Marcus's triumph smeared with blood and lies. Protesters waver, some cheering Roy's attack, others doubling down, the city a tinderbox ready to ignite. Lena gets Marcus to their suite, his head bandaged by a hotel medic, his black shirt swapped for a towel, blood crusted on his neck. He sits, battered but breathing, his split lip curling into a grimace as Lena paces, her sweater torn, her eyes dark.
With fury.
"They won't stop," she says, her voice a low burn. Marcus nods, wincing as he shifts and dials Harold from a burner phone, his tone steel despite the pain. "Your ex-attendant's goon just tried to kill me," he growls, blood flecking. His teeth. "Settle this or I burn SkyHigh down." Harold's voice trembles through. "Marcus, please, we fired her, we'll pay, just don't sue." Marcus slams the phone down, his fist shaking, and looks at Lena. "No deal," he says, his deep voice a vow. "They bleed for this." Tariq pings him. Roy's on CCTV, hotel's got it, cops are looped in. Leon follows. Board's panicking, stocks tanking, they're begging for mercy. Marcus's empire strikes back. His press conference. A sledgehammer. Patricia's firing a body blow. But Roy's attack twists the knife deeper. Lena kneels beside him, her hand on his, her jeans still damp with his blood. "We're close," she whispers, her resolve a mirror to his. Amara creeps in, her small hands clutching a fresh doodle, a plane with a jagged red streak, her eyes wide but trusting. Marcus pulls her close, his arm aching, and mutters, "We're not done, baby girl." The hotel room hums, a fortress under siege, the city outside a battlefield. Patricia, in her apartment, scrolls X, Ted's video looping on her cracked phone, her laughter a jagged edge as she downs another beer. "He's finished," she slurs, her blouse a crumpled heap, her pale skin blotched with rage. Roy's attack was her lifeline, a brutal counterpunch, and Ted spins, tilting the scales. She thinks she's clawed back control. The Grant's victory a mirage, she's shattered. But the cops are circling, Tariq's evidence piling, and Marcus's refusal to settle looms like a storm cloud. Harold, back at HQ, stares at the stock ticker, down 12 points now, his squint a permanent crease, his coffee cold. He dials the board, his voice hoarse. "He won't take the money," he says, his tie choking him. "We're screwed." The Empire's striking back, but the war's far from won. Roy's pipe a bloody warning of worse to come. Marcus lies, back, his head throbbing, blood seeping through the bandage, but his eyes stay open, fixed on the ceiling. Lena sits beside him, her sweater sleeve torn, her hand gripping his, their daughter's doodle a fragile anchor. "They hit harder every time," she says, her voice a thread of steel. Marcus turns, his split lip twitching. "So do we," he replies, his deep tone unyielding. The TV flickers, news replaying his conference, protesters chanting his name, but Ted's video gnaws at the edges, a lie spreading like wildfire. The board's cracking, Patricia's raging, and Roy's lurking, the fight escalating beyond the skies into a brutal, bloody reckoning. Marcus Grant sits in a sterile Manhattan hotel room, his head bandaged from Roy's pipe attack, blood seeping through the gauze, staining his black button-down a dark crimson. His split lip throbs, his broad frame hunched over a laptop, but his dark eyes burn with a relentless fire. Lena paces nearby, her torn sweater swapped for a navy blouse, her jeans still faintly smudged with his blood, her braided bun tight as her resolve. Amara naps in the next room, her doodle pad abandoned, Mr. Snaps tucked under her arm, the chaos of the past days etching shadows on her small face. Marcus types furiously, finalizing a lawsuit against SkyHigh Airlines, demanding $2 billion for negligence, defamation, and emotional distress. "They let this happen," he mutters, his deep voice a growl, his fingers slamming the keys. Lena stops, her brown eyes meeting his. "Make it hurt," she says, her tone steel, and he nods, hitting send to Carla Reyes, their lawyer, with a sharp click. The trial kicks off in a packed federal courthouse, a gray stone fortress buzzing with reporters and protesters spilling onto the steps, their signs screaming, "Justice for Grant," in bold black letters. Marcus takes the stand, his black suit, crisp despite the bandage peeking from his collar. His split lip a silent testament to Roy's brutality. Lena sits in the gallery, her navy blouse a quiet shield. Amara with a sitter, her presence a steady pulse beside Marcus's fight. Patricia Cole testifies first, her blonde hair pulled into a severe ponytail, her wrinkled blouse traded for a cheap blazer, her pale blue eyes darting as she spins lies. "He threatened me," she says, her voice quivering with fake fear, pointing at Marcus. "Said he'd ruin me if I didn't back off." Roy follows, his leather jacket swapped for a ill-fitting suit, his gray buzz cut slicked back, nodding along. "Saw him with the drugs myself," he lies, his gravelly tone slick with rehearsal. The jury, all white, 12 faces carved from skepticism, murmur approval, their nods a dagger in Marcus's chest. What's the truth worth when the deck's stacked from the start? Ted's video plays on a courtroom screen, Marcus crumpling. Under Roy's pipe, blood spraying, Amara's screams piercing the audio, a distorted loop that sways the jury further. Carla leaps up, her slate gray suit sharp as her voice, presenting the planted baggies airport CCTV, Roy's hand slipping it into the duffel clear as day. "This is the frame-up," she snaps, her pen jabbing the air. "Orchestrated by Cole and her accomplice." The footage flickers, undeniable, Roy's face caught in grainy detail, but Judge Grayson, a paunchy white man with a drawl and a good old boy smirk, bangs his gavel, his jowls shaking. "Suppressed," he declares, his voice a lazy drawl, leaning back in his chair. "Irrelevant to the possession charge, counselor. Move on." Carla's jaw drops, her eyes blazing, but Marcus's calm cracks, his fist clenching under the table. "This ain't your courtroom, son," Grayson adds, his smirk widening, a wink to the jury that seals the bias tight. Can a man fight when the judge holds the noose? Lena slips out during a recess, her navy blouse damp with sweat, and digs into Grayson's past, her phone a lifeline to Tariq. "Check him," she whispers, her voice urgent, pacing the courthouse hall. Tariq's reply pings back fast. Grayson's ex-partner at Roy's precinct, golf buddies, hush money rumors, deep ties. Lena's breath catches, her fingers trembling as she forwards it to Carla, the system's rot laid bare. She storms back in, her eyes locking with Marcus's, a silent signal of the war shifting gears. Carla adjusts her strategy, hammering Patricia's history, 3 racial complaints surfacing like ghosts, but Grayson stifles every blow, his gavel a hammer-crushing truth. The jury deliberates, their whispers a buzz behind closed doors, and Marcus sits, his bandage itching, his empire teetering as SkyHigh's stock plummets 10 points, a freefall fueled by whispers of his guilt. The verdict lands like a thunderclap. Guilty, 5 years for possession. Marcus rises, his black suit a shroud, his split lip twitching as bailiffs cuff him again, the metal biting his raw wrists. Lena bolts up, her navy blouse fluttering, her scream swallowed by the courtroom's roar. "This is a lie." The gallery erupts, reporters scribbling, protesters outside howling as news vans swarm. Patricia smirks from the witness stand, her ponytail bobbing, her cheap blazer a badge of triumph, thinking she's won the war. Roy adjusts his tie, his gravelly chuckle low, while Ted slinks out, his gold chain glinting, already plotting the next smear. Marcus locks eyes with Lena, his deep voice cutting through. "Keep fighting." Before the bailiffs drag him away, his boots echoing on the stone floor. How does a family hold on when justice turns its back? Lena collapses into a courtroom bench, her hands shaking, her navy blouse clinging to her skin, but her resolve hardens, a steel core forged in fury. She dials Tariq, her voice a blade. "Expose Grayson now." Tariq leaks the judge's ties. To Roy to the press, a bombshell hitting X within hours. Corrupt judge rigged grant trial. Protests explode nationwide, Times Square to LAX. Chants of free Marcus, shaking the streets. Tires burning as SkyHigh offices face Molotov cocktails, glass shattering in the night. The hashtag, "My System Failed" trends, a tidal wave of rage. While Lena gathers Marcus's team, Leon and Carla at her side, their war room a hotel suite buzzing with plans. SkyHigh's stock craters, down 15 points. A death spiral Harold Vance can't stop. His squint, a permanent wince. Patricia vanishes. The termination email a noose she slips, cashing Harold's secret payout. A 6-figure hush deal wired to an offshore account. She meets Roy and Ted in a Vegas motel, neon flickering through cracked blinds, her blonde ponytail loose, her blazer swapped for a hoodie, her pale blue eyes glinting with greed. "Extort SkyHigh next," she says, her voice a hiss, slamming, a tequila shot. "They're weak, we squeeze." Roy nods, his leather jacket back cracking his knuckles, while Ted grins, his stained polo reeking. Bots already primed for the next lie. They think Marcus's conviction's their checkmate, his empire a carcass to pick clean. But Lena's leak's a wildfire, Grayson's name poison, and the feds stir, sniffing Roy's trail. Marcus lands in a Rikers cell, a concrete tomb stinking, of rust and despair, his black suit traded for an orange jumpsuit, his bandage gone, the gash on his head scabbing over. A guard, a beefy white guy with a shaved head, smirks. "Big shot now, huh?" and slams a baton into Marcus's gut, the blow doubling him over, blood trickling from his reopened lip. He gasps, collapsing to the cot, his wrists raw, but his eyes blaze, unbroken. "You'll see," he mutters, his deep voice a vow through gritted teeth. Racial hatred dogging him even here. Lena's leak spreads, the press hounding Grayson, the jury's bias cracking open but the system's turned. A machine grinding Marcus down, his empire trembling as SkyHigh teeters on collapse. Yo, this is insane. Comment number 1 if you think Grayson's corruption proves the system's rotten. Hit like if you're screaming for Marcus to smash this trap, and subscribe to see this fight rip wide open. Should Patricia's crew keep pushing their luck, or are they blind to the storm Lena's brewing? Can a man rise when the jail bars clang shut? Stay locked in, because this reckoning's about to turn everything you thought you knew upside down. The federal courthouse in Manhattan trembles with the aftershocks of Marcus Grant's conviction, the air thick with the stench of betrayal as bailiffs drag him away, his orange jumpsuit a stark blaze against the gray stone. His wrists chafe, under the cuffs, his split lip bleeding anew from the guard's baton, his broad frame unyielding despite the weight of 5 years slamming down. Lena collapses onto a wooden bench, her navy blouse soaked with sweat, her hands trembling as she clutches the edge, her brown eyes wide with shock. Amara's cries echo from the sitter's arms outside, a piercing wail that cuts through the courtroom's roar, her small body racked with sobs, Mr. Snap's dangling limp. Lena's scream, swallowed by the chaos, hangs in her throat, a silent vow as Marcus disappears behind a steel door, his deep voice echoing, "Keep fighting," a lifeline she clings to with every fiber. Patricia Cole steps onto the courthouse steps, her cheap blazer traded back for a wrinkled hoodie, her blonde ponytail swinging as she smirks at the cameras, her pale blue eyes glinting with triumph. Reporters swarm, mics thrusting forward, and she laughs a shrill, jagged sound. "Justice served," she declares, her voice dripping with venom, her posture puffed like a victor claiming spoils. The crowd jeers, protesters hurling insults, but she basks in it, her termination a badge she wears with pride, her payout from Harold Vance a secret cushion. Roy slinks beside her, his leather jacket creaking, his gray buzz cut catching the sun, his gravelly chuckle low as he nods to Ted lurking in the shadows. Ted adjusts his gold chain, his stained polo reeking of victory, and grins. "Next move's ours," his words a promise of more chaos. They slip into a waiting car, peeling off to Vegas, their motel hideout a neon-lit fortress for their next scheme. Lena rises from the bench, her navy blouse clinging to her skin, and dials Tariq, her voice a blade through tears. "Expose Grayson. Flood it now," she says, her tone unyielding, her braided bun a crown of defiance. Tariq acts fast, leaking Grayson's ties to Roy to every major outlet, a digital deluge hitting X and news feeds within hours. Corrupt, judge-rigged Billionaire's trial. The story explodes, protests surging from coast to coast. Times Square's screens flashing Marcus's face, Los Angeles streets choked with marchers' chants of "Free Marcus," shaking the pavement. Tires burn outside SkyHigh's JFK office, flames licking the night sky, glass shattering as Molotov cocktails fly, a roar of rage against a system turned rotten. The hashtag #SystemFail trends globally, a tidal wave of fury, while SkyHigh's stock craters, down 20 points. A death knell Harold Vance can't silence, his squint a permanent grimace. Patricia, Roy, and Ted hunker in their Vegas motel, the room stinking of tequila and stale smoke, neon flickering. Through cracked blinds, Patricia slams a shot, her hoodie sleeve stained, her blonde hair a wild tangle, and snarls, "SkyHigh's weak, we extort them next." Roy cracks his knuckles, his leather jacket slung over a chair, and nods. "They'll pay to keep us quiet." Ted scrolls his phone, his gold chain glinting, bots ready to churn out fresh lies, his grin a slash of malice. "Stock's tanking, they're desperate," he says, his peanut breath souring the air. They toast, glasses clinking, thinking Marcus's conviction's their golden ticket, his empire a carcass ripe for plunder. Harold's payout, wired offshore, fuels their greed, a six-figure lifeline they'll stretch into millions. Blind to the Fed circling Roy's trail, Lena's leak a noose they can't feel. Marcus sits in a Rikers cell, the concrete walls slick with damp, the air heavy with rust and despair. His orange jumpsuit hangs loose, his bandage gone, the gash on his head a raw scab, his split lip crusted with fresh blood from the guard's baton. The beefy guard looms again, his shaved head gleaming under the flickering bulb, his smirk a permanent carve. "Thought you were untouchable, huh?" he taunts, swinging the baton into Marcus's ribs. A dull crack echoing as Marcus doubles over, gasping, blood dripping onto the cot. He collapses, his wrists raw, his broad frame curling against the pain, but his dark eyes blaze, a fire no blow can snuff. "You'll pay," he rasps, his deep voice a vow through gritted teeth, racial hatred a shadow that stalks him even here, the system's claws sinking deeper. Lena rallies Marcus's team in the hotel suite, a war room buzzing with laptops and coffee, her navy blouse swapped for a black tee, her jeans a battle uniform. Carla paces, her slate gray suit wrinkled, legal briefs strewn across the table, while Leon, the grizzled security chief, pores over CCTV stills, Roy's face frozen mid-plant. Tariq types furiously, his wiry frame hunched, feeding Grayson's dirt to the press, the leak spreading like wildfire. "Feds are sniffing," Leon says, his voice gravel, pointing at a report. "Roy's priors, linked to Grayson's old precinct." Lena nods, her brown eyes steel, and grips a photo of Marcus, his bloodied face from the hotel lot, a fuel to her fight. "Appeals filed," Carla adds, her pen slashing notes. "Grayson's toast if we push this." The TV blares, protests escalating, SkyHigh's logo torched in effigy, a nation's fury boiling over. Patricia's crew plots in Vegas, their motel a den of schemes, tequila bottles littering the floor. "We hit SkyHigh with blackmail," Patricia says, her voice slurred but sharp, her hoodie hood shadowing her wild eyes. "Threaten more leaks, fake docs, they'll cave." Roy grunts, his knuckles bruised. "I'll handle the muscle if they resist." Ted's phone glows, bots churning lies about Marcus's drug empire, his stained polo a badge of his filth. They think they're untouchable. Heralds pay out a shield, Marcus's cell a lock they've turned. But the feds close in, Grayson's name a poison spreading, and Lena's war room hums, a counterstrike they can't see. SkyHigh's stock plummets, down 25 points. A free fall Herald begs the board to stem, his voice hoarse. "He's killing us from inside." Marcus lies on the cot, blood pooling beneath his ribs, the guard's baton a fresh bruise on his soul. He breathes shallow, pain lancing through, but his mind races, plotting beyond the bars. The guard smirks, twirling the baton, and mutters, "Stay down, rich boy," before lumbering out, the cell door clanging shut. Marcus forces himself up, his orange jumpsuit stained, his wrists raw, and grips the cot's edge, his dark eyes fixed on the wall, a vow etched in his gaze. Lena's leaks a lifeline, the protests a heartbeat, but the abyss deepens, racial hatred a blade that cuts deeper with every blow. SkyHigh teeters, its offices smoking ruins, its board scrambling. Harold's pleas a whisper in the storm. Lena stands at the hotel window, the Manhattan skyline a jagged blur, her black tee taut across her shoulders, her hands clenched. Carla joins her, legal briefs in hand, and says, "Appeals are shot, Grayson's cracking." Leon nods, his grizzled face stern. "Feds'll nab Roy, it's a matter of time." Tariq pings, "Stock's dead, they're bleeding cash." Lena turns, her brown eyes a storm, and grips Marcus's photo tighter, his bloodied face a call to arms. "He's not staying there," she says, her voice a vow, her braided bun a crown of defiance. The TV flickers, news of riots, SkyHigh's collapse, a nation teetering on the edge. But Patricia's crew schemes on, blind to the noose tightening. The systems turn a double-edged sword slicing both ways. Marcus spits blood onto the cell floor, his ribs aching, his deep voice a whisper. Not yet. A promise to himself, to Lena, to Amara. The guard's footsteps fade. The protest's distant roar seeps through the walls, a pulse of hope in the dark. Lena's leak burns brighter, Grayson's corruption a crack in the machine. But the abyss yawns wider, racial hatred a weight that threatens to crush him. SkyHigh's empire crumbles, its stock a ghost, its board a panicked mob, and Patricia's laughter echoes in Vegas, a fool's triumph in a game she's already lost. The Rikers Island cell holds Marcus Grant like a vice, its concrete walls slick with damp, the air a stew of rust and hopelessness. His orange jumpsuit clings to his battered frame, the gash on his head scabbing over, his split lip crusted with blood from the guard's baton, his ribs bruised black beneath the fabric. He sits on the cot, his broad shoulders hunched, his wrists raw from cuffs long gone, but his dark eyes blaze with a fire no prison can quench. Lena's leak about Judge Grayson's corruption has hit the feds, a seismic crack in the system, and their probe kicks into gear, subpoenas flying, Grayson's golf buddies at Roy's old precinct sweating under the spotlight. The appeal lands, Carla Reyes's brief slicing through red tape, and within days Grayson's ousted, his drawl silenced, his good old boy smirk wiped clean by a federal order. Marcus walks free, the cell door clanging open, his boots scuffing, the floor, his limp a badge of survival, his spirit unbroken. Lena waits outside Rikers, her black tee taut, her jeans faded, her braided bun a crown of steel, Amara clutching her hand, Mr. Snaps tucked under her arm, her ladybug backpack swinging. Marcus emerges, his orange jumpsuit swapped for a gray, tracksuit from Leon, his head unbandaged, the scab stark against his skin. Lena rushes him, her arms wrapping tight, her breath hitching as Amara buries her face in his leg, her small voice a whisper. "Daddy." He kneels, wincing at the pain in his ribs, and pulls them close, his deep voice a rumble. "I'm back, baby girl." Tears streak Lena's face, her brown eyes shining, but her resolve hardens, a vow shared in their embrace. SkyHigh's stock, craters, down 30 points, a death spiral Harold Vance can't stop, his resignation hitting the wire as the board scrambles, their glass tower a crumbling relic. Patricia Cole hides in a Vegas motel, the neon buzz a faint hum through cracked blinds, her blonde hair a greasy tangle, her hoodie stained with tequila and sweat, her pale blue eyes darting as news of Marcus's release flickers on a cheap TV. "No!" she breathes, her voice a ragged hiss, slamming a shot glass down, the crack echoing in the dim room. Roy's gone, nabbed by feds in a Reno dive bar, his leather jacket confiscated, his gray buzz cut bowed under cuffs, his priors a noose they've tightened fast. She dials his burner, static mocking her, and hurls the phone, plastic shattering, against the wall. Ted's vanished, his gold chain a ghost, his bots silent, leaving her alone, her empire of lies crumbling. She grabs her laptop, her fingers trembling, and hires a hitman from a dark web ad, a shadowy figure named Vic, promising death for $50,000 wired from Harold's payout. "Kill Marcus Grant," she types, her breath ragged. "Make it quick." The hit goes down at a Brooklyn rally, a sea of protesters chanting "Free Marcus" under a gray sky, signs bobbing. "System failed," in jagged red paint. Marcus stands on a makeshift stage, his gray tracksuit loose, his limp, slight but his voice booming. "This ends now!" Lena's beside him, her black tee a banner. Amara safe with Leon backstage, her doodle pad clutched tight. Vic, a wiry man in a black cap, slips through the crowd, his pistol a cold weight under his jacket, his eyes locked on Marcus. He fires, a muffled crack lost in the chance, but Lena spots the glint, her instincts razor sharp, and dives, shoving Marcus aside. The bullet rips through her shoulder, blood blooming across her tee, and she collapses in Marcus's arms, her gasp a wet choke, her brown eyes wide with shock. Amara screams from backstage, a piercing wail, as Marcus cradles Lena, his hands slick with her blood, his deep voice roaring, "No!" The crowd erupts, chaos swallowing the rally, fists flying, signs swinging as protesters turn on Vic, his black cap torn away, his pistol kicked into the gutter. Leon charges through, his grizzled frame a bulldozer, and tackles Vic, pinning him as cops swarm, cuffs snapping tight. Marcus kneels, Lena's blood soaking his tracksuit, his split lip trembling. "Stay with me," he pleads, his voice breaking, her pulse faint under his fingers. Paramedics rush in, stretchers clattering, and haul her away, her black tee a crimson ruin, her braided bun unraveling as they load her into an ambulance, sirens wailing. Amara sobs in Leon's arms, her doodle pad forgotten, Mr. Snaps clutched tight, her small world shattering. Crowds riot, Sky-high planes torched at. JFK, flames licking the night sky, a rebellion rising from Lena's blood. Patricia watches from Vegas, the motel TV looping rally footage. Lena's fall a grainy blur, her tequila shot frozen mid-air, her pale blue eyes wide with glee. "Got him," she mutters, her voice slurred, her hoodie sleeve stained, thinking, Lena's hit seals Marcus's doom. But feds raid her room, doors splintering, guns drawn, her laptop open to Vic's chat, her $50,000 wire a glowing confession. "Patricia Cole, you're under arrest," a burly agent barks, cuffs biting her wrists, her blonde hair wild as they drag her out, her screams a shrill echo in the neon night. Roy's flipped, his plea deal spilling her plans. The hit a nail in her coffin she didn't see coming. Marcus rides with Lena to the hospital, his gray tracksuit drenched, his hands gripping hers, her blood sticky between his fingers, his dark eyes locked on her pale face. "You're not leaving me," he says, his deep voice a lifeline, her shallow breaths a fragile thread. Doctors swarm, wheeling her into surgery, her shoulder a mess of torn flesh, her black tee cut away, her braided bun loose on the gurney. Marcus stands in the hall, his limp pronounced, his split lip quivering. Amara clinging to his leg, her small hands trembling. Mr. snaps, a damp comfort. Sky-high's collapse accelerates. Stock at 10 points, a ghost of its former self. Heralds, resignation a footnote, the board begging mercy Marcus won't give. Leon storms in, his grizzled face grim. Vic's singing, tied to Patricia. Feds have her. Tariq pings, stock's dead, they're bankrupt. Protests won't stop. Carla follows, her slate gray suit rumpled. Appeals solid. Grayson's, out, we've got leverage. Marcus nods, his dark eyes steel, blood crusted on his hands. Lena's life hanging by a thread. The hospital hums, a sterile fortress, while outside riots rage, Sky-high's empire ash. Patricia's arrest a spark in the rebellion. He sinks to a chair, Amara in his lap, her sobs muffled, his deep voice a whisper. "We're not done." A vow to the chaos, to Lena, to the fight still burning. Patricia sits in a Vegas holding cell, her hoodie confiscated, her blonde hair a matted wreck, her pale blue eyes dull with shock, cuffs chafing her wrists. Roy's betrayal, Vic's capture, her hit a bust, the walls close in, her laughter silenced, her tequila dreams sour. Sky-high's planes burn, protesters chants a distant roar, the rebellion rising from her ashes. Marcus's release a blade she can't dodge. Lena fights in surgery, her blood a rallying cry. Marcus's empire a phoenix stirring, the system cracking under the weight of its own rot. Marcus grips Amara tighter, her small frame a tether, his gray tracksuit stiff with Lena's blood, his split lip a scar of survival. Doctors rush past, their scrubs a blur, her fate a coin toss he can't call. Leon stands guard, his grizzled frame a wall, while Carla plots. Her brief's a weapon, Tariq's updates a lifeline. Sky-high's collapse echoes, a titan felled, the rebellion a tide Marcus rides. Patricia's fall a step, not the end. He stares at the surgery doors, his dark eyes unblinking, his deep voice a murmur. "Hold on, Lena." A prayer in the storm, the abyss receding but the war far from won. The hospital corridor hums with sterile quiet as Marcus Grant sits beside Lena's ICU bed, his gray tracksuit stiff with her dried blood, his split lip scabbed, his dark eyes locked on her pale face. Her shoulders bandaged, a thick white wrap over the bullet wound, her black tee gone, replaced by a thin gown, her braided bun loose, strands spilling across the pillow. Machines beep, a steady rhythm, her chest rising faint but alive, her brown eyes fluttering open for a fleeting second. Marcus grips her hand, his broad fingers slick with her blood, his deep voice a whisper. "You're still here." A lifeline, in the chaos. Amara curls in a chair nearby, her ladybug backpack at her feet. Mr. Snaps clutched tight, her small frame dwarfed by the room, her eyes red but dry. A 7-year-old forged in fire. Doctors bustle past, their scrubs a blur, but Marcus's world narrows to Lena, her survival a spark in the dark. In Vegas, feds drag Patricia Cole from her motel cell, her blonde hair a wild tangle, her hoodie swapped for a gray jumpsuit, her pale blue eyes wide with panic as cuffs bite her wrists. Live TV captures it, cameras flashing, reporters shouting, "Flight attendant arrested in Billionaire hit." Her screams pierce the feed, "I'm innocent." But the laptop seized from her room glows with evidence, the $50,000 wire to Vic, a neon confession. Roy's flipped, his plea deal spilling her every move, the hit on Marcus a plot she can't dodge. She thrashes, her ponytail whipping, but agents haul her to a van, her reckoning broadcast coast to coast, her empire of lies a smoldering ruin. Ted's nabbed in a Brooklyn dive, his gold chain tangled, his stained polo reeking, bots silent, conspiracy charges pinning him to Patricia's fall, his grin a ghost of bravado. Marcus watches the news on a muted hospital TV, Patricia's perp walk looping, her screams a silent farce, his split lip curling faintly, a flicker of triumph in his battered frame. SkyHigh Airlines collapses, its stock at 5 points. A carcass, bleeding cash, and Marcus sells his shares, a $1 billion move that bankrupts it overnight. The glass tower in Manhattan a hollow shell. Protesters cheer outside, their chants a roar. SkyHigh's dead, in bold black spray paint across its doors. Flames licking the last planes at JFK, a funeral pyre for a rotting titan. Harold Vance vanishes, his resignation a footnote, his squint lost to obscurity, the board scrambling for scraps as the empire crumbles, ash in Marcus's wake. Lena stirs, her breath shallow, her brown eyes cracking open, meeting Marcus's gaze, a faint squeeze of his hand sparking hope. "We beat them," he says, his deep voice steady, blood crusted on his knuckles, his gray tracksuit a testament to their war. She nods, a ghost of a smile, her voice a rasp. Almost. Her strength a thread pulling her back. Amara climbs. Onto the bed, her small hands gentle, Mr. Snaps pressed to Lena's arm, her doodle pad forgotten, her trust a balm in the sterile air. Doctors hover, their charts a blur, but Lena's waking shifts the room, a family unbroken, their fight a flame that won't die. Marcus brushes her loose braids, his touch tender, his dark eyes softening, the abyss receding with every beep of her pulse. Patricia's trial flashes on TV, a Vegas courtroom packed, her gray jumpsuit a shroud, her blonde hair limp, her pale blue eyes dull as prosecutors pile evidence. Roy's testimony a sledgehammer, Vic's confession a nail. She sobs, her voice cracking. "I didn't mean it." But the jury's stone-faced, all 12 staring through her lies, her hit a death sentence she can't outrun. Marcus watches from the hospital, his gray tracksuit swapped for a fresh black sweatshirt, his limp easing, his split lip a scar of survival. The sentence lands, life without parole, and Patricia collapses, her wails a hollow echo, her ponytail a tattered flag. Justice a blade she forged herself. Ted's hit with 10 years, his gold chain confiscated, his bots a memory. Grayson indicted, his drawl silenced, the system's rot peeled back layer by layer. SkyHigh's end ripples, news ticker flashing. Airline bankrupt, Grant sells out. A final blow Marcus delivers with cold precision, his $1 billion exit a guillotine drop. Protesters dance in the streets, Brooklyn to LA, their signs now victory, in bold red strokes, tires burning in celebration, not rage. Marcus sits by Lena, her hand warmer, her brown eyes brighter, her voice a whisper. "We did it." He nods, his deep voice a rumble. Not all of it. His gaze shifting to the TV, a leaked memo flickering. SkyHigh's board knew of Patricia's bias, years of complaints buried, a deeper villain unmasked. "They're next," he says, his split lip twitching, blood gone but the fight alive, his empire a phoenix stirring from ash. Lena's recovery creeps, her shoulder stitched, her black tee a memory, her gown a fragile shield, but her spirit surges, her brown eyes locking with Marcus's, a shared vow in their grip. Amara doodles again, a plane in gold and black. Her small hands steady, Mr. Snaps a silent guard, her trust a bridge over the chaos. Leon storms in, his grizzled face grim. Boards hiding, memos legit, feds are digging. Carla follows, her slate gray suit crisp. "We've got 'em. Civil suits ready, billions more." Tariq pings. Stocks 0. They're done. PhoenixAir's rising. Marcus nods. His dark eyes steel. The reckoning a wave he rides. Patricia's fall a step. The board's betrayal a war unfinished. In Vegas, Patricia rots in a cell. Her gray jumpsuit a tomb. Her blonde hair a matted wreck. Her pale blue eyes staring at nothing. Cuffs chafing her wrists. Roy's deal cuts his time. His leather jacket a memory. His gravelly voice a traitor's whisper. While Ted stews in a Brooklyn jail. His gold chain pawned. His stained polo a rag. Grayson's indictment hits. His good old boy smirk a ghost. His precinct ties a noose tightening. The system cracking under Marcus's hammer. SkyHigh's board scrambles. Their glass tower a mausoleum. Their wealth evaporating. Harold's pleas a faint echo. The memo a death knell they can't dodge. Marcus stands, his limp fading. His black sweatshirt a new skin. His split lip a badge of survival. Lena's hand in his. Her pulse stronger. Her brown eyes a mirror to his fire. PhoenixAir, he says, his deep voice a promise. The rival, Airline he's bought a blade to wield, a fresh empire rising from SkyHigh's corpse. Amara looks up, her doodle a prophecy, gold and black wings soaring, her small voice chirping. Our plane, Daddy? He nods, ruffling her curls. Ours, baby girl. His dark eyes glinting, the reckoning a tide turning. The board's betrayal a shadow he'll chase. Lena squeezes his hand, her gown rustling, her voice a thread. Finish it, a command, he'll carry to the end. The hospital room glows, a fortress reclaimed, Lena's recovery a heartbeat, Amara's trust a light, Marcus's resolve a mountain unmoved. Leon plots, his grizzled frame tense. Feds'll raid the board memos. Gold. Carla sharpens her briefs, her slate gray suit a weapon. They'll pay, every cent. Tariq's updates hum. PhoenixAir's trending. They're scared. Marcus stares out the window. The Manhattan skyline a jagged promise. His black sweatshirt taut, his split lip a scar. Lena's blood a memory fueling his war. SkyHigh's ash settles. Patricia's life sentence a stone. Ted's jail a cage. Grayson's fall a crack. But the board looms, their memo a thread to unravel. The reckoning a storm still brewing. The hospital room glows with a quiet triumph as Lena Grant sits propped against pillows, her shoulder bandaged, her thin gown replaced by a loose black sweatshirt, her brown eyes bright with a fire rekindled. Marcus stands beside her, his gray tracksuit swapped for a tailored charcoal suit, his split lip a faint scar, his dark eyes glinting with resolve, his limp nearly gone. Amara perches on the bed's edge, her ladybug backpack at her feet, Mr. Snaps in her lap, her small hands clutching a doodle of a plane in gold and black, her curls bouncing as she beams up at her parents. Doctors have cleared Lena, her recovery, a miracle stitched from grit. Her braided bun retightened, a crown of survival. Marcus grips her hand, his broad fingers steady, his deep voice a rumble. We're finishing this. A vow sealed in their shared scars. The ICU, a memory fading. Behind them, he schedules a global press conference, broadcast from a sleek Brooklyn studio, the skyline a jagged backdrop through floor-to-ceiling glass. Reporters pack the room, cameras rolling, mics bristling, the air electric with anticipation. Marcus steps to the podium, Lena at his side, her black sweatshirt a quiet banner, Amara beside her, her doodle pad tucked under her arm, a family forged in battle. SkyHigh's board knew, Marcus says, his voice booming, steady as stone, holding up the leaked memo, its text stark on the screen behind him. They buried Patricia Cole's bias, 3 complaints ignored, years of rot they hid. He tosses files to the press, names circled, dates underlined, a wiry reporter snatching them with a gasp, pages fluttering as the room erupts, questions flying, X igniting with Wusashimer's sky-high betrayal trending in seconds. Feds move fast, raiding private, jets mid-flight, cuffing board members in tailored suits, their pleas drowned by jet engines as cameras catch every flinch. Harold Vance's successor, a slick exec named Roger Tate, begs mercy from a Gulfstream window, his tie askew, his squint a pale echo of Harold's, but agents haul him out, his cuffs glinting in the sun. 5 others fall, their wealth a ghost, their glass tower a mausoleum, the memo a noose they can't slip. Marcus watches from the studio, his charcoal suit crisp, his split lip a badge, naming names with cold precision. Roger Tate, Ellen Pierce, they greenlit this hell. His deep voice a blade, Lena's nod a silent hammer, Amara's trust a light in the storm. SkyHigh's ash settles, its bankruptcy a footnote, the board's arrest a thunderclap ending their reign. Marcus pivots, his dark eyes blazing, and reveals his masterstroke. I've bought PhoenixAir, SkyHigh's rival, with their own corpse. The screen shifts, a sleek jet in gold and black taxiing at JFK, its wings a phoenix rising, his family's new empire born from the wreckage. We run it now, he says, Lena stepping forward, her black sweatshirt bold, her voice a thread of steel, no bias, no lies, just flight. Amara beams, her doodle a prophecy fulfilled, her small voice chirping, "Our plane," as the crowd cheers, reporters scribbling, the world watching a titan reborn. PhoenixAir trends, its stock, soaring, a $1 billion leap overnight. Marcus's genius a tide turning decades of pain into gold. The Grants a dynasty unbowed. Patricia Cole rots in a Vegas prison, her gray jumpsuit a shroud, her blonde hair a matted wreck, her pale blue eyes staring at bars, life without parole, a stone crushing her screams. Her trial replays on a cell block TV, her sobs a ghost, Roy's testimony a nail, Vic's confession a chain, her hit on Lena a death she can't outrun. She collapses on her cot, her wrists raw, her hoodie a memory, her empire of tequila and lies a ruin televised for the world. Ted stews in Brooklyn, his 10-year sentence a cage, his gold chain pawned, his stained polo a rag. Bot silenced, his grin a faded smear. Grayson's indicted, his good old boy drawl mute, his precinct ties a noose. The system's rot peeled back, justice a blade Marcus wields with precision. The twist unfurls, Marcus revealing his prison play. I turned Roy, fed him lies from my cell, set this domino chain. His dark eyes glint, his split lip curling, a chess master's gambit laid bare, the orange jumpsuit a disguise for his brilliance. Riker's a board he flipped. Lena's jaw drops, her brown eyes wide. You planned this in there? She asks, her voice a mix of awe and pride, her black sweatshirt a banner of their shared war. He nods, his deep voice steady. Every move, every fall. I saw it, his broad hand gripping hers, Amara giggling. Daddy sneaky, her trust a spark in their triumph. The press gasps, cameras whirring, X exploding with Marcus mastermind, the world stunned by a man who turned bars into a throne. PhoenixAir's first flight takes off, a gold and black jet soaring from JFK, the runway a ribbon of hope, passengers cheering, the Grants aboard, their seats a reclaiming of the skies. Marcus sits by the window, his charcoal suit sharp, his split lip a scar of survival. Lena beside him, her black sweatshirt swapped for a gold blouse, her shoulder stiff but healing. Amara at the window, her doodle pad open, sketching wings in gold crayon, Mr. Snaps propped beside her. This is ours now, Lena whispers, her brown eyes meeting his, her braided bun a crown, their empire a phoenix soaring from SkyHigh's ash. The jet climbs, 35,000 feet, clouds parting, a symbol of triumph over decades of pain. Racial scars a shadow they've outflown, the board's arrested remnants beg from cells. Roger Tate's pleas a whimper, Ellen Pierce's wealth a ghost, their jets grounded, their power dust. SkyHigh's logo fades, its planes scrapped, its glass tower a relic, the memo they're undoing. Marcus's hammer a final blow, Patricia's life sentence locks, her gray jumpsuit a tomb, her blonde hair a wreck, her pale blue eyes dull, her screams a memory. Ted's jail a footnote, Grayson's fall a crack sealed shut. PhoenixAir rises, its stock a rocket, its jets a fleet, Marcus's $1 billion flip a lesson carved in gold. Lena's grit a pillar, Amara's trust a future untainted. Marcus leans back, his charcoal suit creasing, his dark eyes scanning the sky, his split lip a faint line. Lena's hand in his, her gold blouse a quiet victory, Amara's doodle, a map of their rise. We did it, he says. His deep voice a rumble, blood gone, scars a story, their family a fortress unbreached. Lena nods, her brown eyes soft. For us, for everyone. Her voice a vow, her shoulder aching but strong. Their flight a reclaiming of dignity stolen too long. Amara presses her nose to the glass. Look, Daddy, we're flying. Her small voice a bell, her gold plane a prophecy, their empire a beacon in the clouds. Leon texts from the ground. Board's done, feds own 'em, PhoenixAir's king. Carla follows. Civil suits billions, they're broke. Her slate gray suit a memory of War I. Tariq pings. Stocks gold, world's watching. His wiry genius a spark in their rise. Marcus pockets his phone, his broad frame relaxed, his dark eyes glinting, the jet a throne he's claimed. Lena's touch a tether, Amara's joy a crown. SkyHigh's ash drifts, Patricia's cell a tomb, Ted's cage a whisper, Grayson's noose a knot. The board's fall a reckoning, the memo a ghost they've slain. The jet soars, gold and black wings cutting the sky, passengers silent, awed. The Grants a vision of triumph, their scars a map of battles won, racial hatred a shadow they've burned away. Marcus looks at Lena, her gold blouse glowing, her brown eyes a mirror. This is just the start, he says, his deep voice a promise, her nod a pact. Amara's giggle a future unfolding. PhoenixAir flies, $1 billion Phoenix, its runway, a scar healed, its skies a canvas of justice. The Grants a dynasty rising from decades of pain. Their flight a stunning reversal, a victory carved in gold and black. Flight attendant kicks black billionaire family off plane, finds out they own the airline. Delivers a gut-punching tale of resilience against systemic racism. Marcus, Lena, and Amara Grant's journey teaches us that prejudice can strike anywhere, even 35,000 feet in the air, but it's the fight back that defines victory. The first lesson, never judge worth by appearance. Patricia Cole's snap decision sparked a war she couldn't win, proving bias blinds more than it reveals. Second, power isn't just wealth or status. It's the courage to stand tall when the system tries to crush you. Marcus turned a prison cell into a chessboard, flipping Roy to topple his enemies, showing strategy trumps brute force. Third, unity fuels triumph. Lena's grit and Amara's trust held their family steady, a reminder that love outlasts hate. Finally, accountability matters. SkyHigh's board hid Patricia's dirt, but truth clawed free, sinking their empire, and birthing PhoenixAir from its ashes. This isn't just a story, it's a mirror to our world, where racial scars run deep, but justice can soar higher. So what hits you hardest here? How far would you go to fight a rigged game? Drop a comment with your take, hit like if Marcus and Lena's comeback fired you up, subscribe to catch more epic battles against injustice, and share this to spark the convo wider. Thanks for riding this wild flight with us. Here's to soaring, past the shadows, chasing a sky where fairness isn't just a dream but a damn reality. Stay bold, stay fierce.